HiveMind to 65532. Again, that's text HiveMind to 65532. A huge thank you to American Heart for Gold. Now back to the video. All right, folks, so I first want to start off with this clip right over here. Just take a look. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and I've already pretty much laid the context.
The rebels are Republicans now. So, like, you want to be a rebel, you want to be punk, you want to, like, warm up the system, you're a conservative now. That's so crazy. And then the liberals are now pro-silencing criticism. They're pro-censorship online. They're talking about regulating free speech and now regulating the First Amendment. It's bananas to watch.
They come after their political opponent.
Well,
I got more guys. I always say, I kid, but I'm not kidding. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the meanest of them all. He'd kill you in 2 seconds if he didn't like you, right? I've been under investigation more than Alphonse Capone, only because it's political opponent stuff. But I won the big case in Florida. I'm winning the other stuff. You win, but you know what they did? They did something that's only done in third world countries. They came after their political opponent.
Yeah,
I could have put Crooked Hillary in jail.
well, not only that, but they're weaponizing it by saying that that's what you were going to do once you get in office, by ignoring what they're doing right now. It's crazy.
Somebody was defending me today. They say that's what you do to him. People like, he's going to put us in jail. He's going to prison. They say, what's what you're doing to him? A lot of people say, will you do that? Will you do that to him? If you did to them, the presidency has tremendous power. I could have put Crooked Hillary in.
I respected that you didn't, because what you said was it would be bad for the country.
Trump is less of a man at this point, more of an icon. And when you're an icon, you represent something. And that's exactly it. It's punk rock, wanting to buck the system. And people who are being honest, people who are paying attention, always understood this. I mean, for Pete's sake, even Michael Moore, far leftist Bernie Sanders documentary maker, Michael Moore, understood this very clearly back in 2016.
Whether Trump means it or not is kind of irrelevant because he's saying the things to people who are hurting. That's why every down state and not working still, who used to be part of what was called the middle class, loves Trump. He, the human Molotov cocktail that they've been waiting for.
And actually, speaking of leftists who understand this, even Evan Spillian recently had this epiphany moment.
Trump is the middle finger manifested in human form. And I think that the individuals who support him, they've been supporting for other reasons as well, but I do think that one of the dominant reasons is that it's giving a middle finger to our political establishment, to our institutions. And a lot of Americans feel like those institutions and the political establishment has let them down, whether we're talking about the Democratic establishment or the Republican establishment.
That's exactly it. It's people who are fed up with the growth of Washington's influence. It's spreading of its tentacles in every facet of life, controlling who gets to be in power, what's acceptable, what's not. That's not the American way. That is the antithesis of what the founding fathers envisioned for this great nation. And really the dynamic between the powers that be, what people refer to as the deep state, the dynamic between the deep state and Donald Trump and his candidacy, the rise of his candidacy, is what I think woke so many people up. I guess if you think about it, we're actually the woke ones. People see it as clear as day. The moment Donald Trump was telling the truth, and of course the moment he was perceived as an actual political threat, well, that's the moment where the establishment brigade started.
It was the episode of You when you were on The View. And I think it was 2015 or 2006, like when you were running for president.
Right.
And you got introduced as our friend Donald Trump. Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you. They were all talking about how you might be conservative in your financial positions, but you're very liberal socially. They were talking about you in such a favorable light. The audience was cheering, and then you actually started winning in the polls, and then the machine started working towards you. But there's probably no one in history that I've ever seen that's been attacked the way you've been attacked, and the way they've done it so coordinated and systematically. When you see those same people in the past, very favorable to you, like Oprah, when you were on Oprah show, she was encouraging you.
And that's another thing that Joe Rogan obviously stands, and he highlighted to his tens of millions of loyal listeners. You know, people see it, and actually Dana White spoke about this the other day. I played you guys that clip. Maybe I can play a shorter version here.
The narrative that has been flipped on Donald Trump is one of the craziest things that I've ever seen, yet at the same time, brilliant and like a masterpiece they've done to this guy. First of all, he's a racist, right? They say he's a racist. They say that. Show me one video.
No, just one.
Where he has ever acted
just
like a
one.
racist. And one of the things that he's said to me, he said, it's a hotel business my whole life. Hotel business. People from all over the world. Never been called a racist until I became a Republican and ran for president. Right? I mean, and you talk to anybody of any race or color that knows him and has known him for years, they love him.
Donald Trump's never been called a racist before until he ran as a Republican, right? And people clearly see that. The moment Donald Trump started to ruffle their feathers in Washington, globalists, elites, once hell-bent on power, hell-bent on taking over the U.S. and reforming it in their UNWEF vision, the moment they saw Donald Trump actually challenging their power, it became all-out information warfare. And people saw that, and naturally people who like to rebel against this kind of thing, you know, just like the founding Americans did, well, that's the moment Donald Trump became an icon. That's the moment this new MAGA movement started. People want to go back to the fundamental values of the nation: freedom of speech, freedom of expression, the right to bear arms, the right to carve your own path, be in control, at least as in control as you can be, of your own destiny. And obviously the establishment types in Washington don't like that very much, especially in the digital age. They want to be able to control what you see, control what's allowed to be said.
Fuck.
Essentially,
Don't tell me what I could and cannot see, like I'm some fucking kid. Bitch, I ain't your fucking kid. I want to see for my fucking self and make my own interpretation to what the fuck it is. I don't need you to tell me what it is,
I think we need to push back.
because that's just what you might interpret it as being
or hate speech, and
or
especially
is.
around our democracy.
You see the headlines from across the world. Thousands of lives lost. Millions displaced.
Shut up.
Or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
If you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable. Say community.
That's what the MAGA movement is rebelling against. What the MAGA movement cares about, first and foremost, is freedom. You know, the left talks a big game when it comes to corporations, dark money, corrupt politicians, and corrupt political groups. But if you think about it, in almost every single instance, they fall in line with these exact groups, as long as it fits their interests. Meanwhile, you have the other side, led by figures like Donald Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., that are actually willing to stand up against the powers that be. And that was actually brought up a couple times in the Rogan podcast.
Do you have anyone that is pressuring you to not work with him? Have there been, reaching RFK Jr.? Yes, I would imagine. But financially,
I would say that, and I think in many ways they've done a good job, in many ways they've done a bad job. But I would say that the Big Pharma wasn't thrilled when they heard that, I've actually always gotten along very well with him. I've known him a long time. He's a different kind of a guy. He's very smart, great guy. And he's very sincere about this. I mean, he really is. He thinks we spend a fortune on pesticides and all this stuff, and then you end up that chart is a terrible chart, the one previous. It's such a bad chart when you look at where we are compared to other countries that don't spend 10 cents.
Right.
So, and you save a lot of money. But, I've had some people that aren't exactly thrilled.
First of all, I love this idea of you teaming up with Robert Kennedy.
Right.
And I love this Make America Healthy Again idea, because there are chemicals and ingredients in our food that are illegal in other countries because they've been shown to be toxic. There's pesticides and herbicides, and there's a lot of shit that's been sprayed on our food that really is unnecessary, and there's a lot of health consequences that people are suffering from a lot of these things. And
Look at this chart for you.
Beautiful.
Because I had a feeling you'd be asking. Look at this chart. These are healthier countries. Look where the United States is. I'm going to send this to RFK Jr.
So this is, something along the... I was actually talking to RFK today, and he told me that more than 70% of young men are ineligible for the military because of their health.
I can see.
That's crazy.
A lot of it's obesity.
So here's the life expectancy versus health expenditure.
Same chart.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
USA. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Jimmy's the best.
He's very good.
He's the best. So
No, but look at that. Look
look
what
at
the
the
US
USA.
is.
It's not good. And
they
that's our
spend all-
food. That's our diet. That's sedentary lifestyle. That's our diet. That's the chemicals we ingest. That's what that is.
But RFK is going to be very, I think he's a great guy.
I
think
love
he's
the fact that you guys teamed up.
Yeah.
And are you completely committed to have him a part of your administration?
Oh, I am.
I mean, do you need any more convincing that Donald Trump is the true anti-establishment pick? They're willing to take on Big Pharma, where obviously, I mean, we saw it, right? I'm not even going to really go into detail, but we saw the left falls in line with the interest of Big Pharma. You know, the simple fact is Donald Trump has put himself in harm's way, in front of a literal bullet, I'd say. He's fearlessly taken on the establishment. People say that he's running for president because he only cares about Donald Trump. Charlemagne actually said that today, but it's total nonsense. Donald Trump's put himself in literal harm's way. His businesses are currently being destroyed in the courts. His personal reputation, his freedom's at stake. I mean, they're charging him with what, over 700 years worth of imprisonment and charges? He's lost, I think, roughly half of his net worth, getting hit with massive fines in New York by corrupt prosecutors. How could you possibly describe that as a man who's in it for his own interests? It's obvious that Donald Trump is in it for your interest, for the nation's interest, and most importantly for the interest of freedom and protecting people's constitutional rights. The Republican Party has become the anti-establishment party. It's become a grassroots movement that is awake and that is honestly fighting for the interest of every American, despite the difficulty, despite the lack of influence and power, and especially cultural power. And that right there is why these leftist hacks in the media keep scratching their heads. Why isn't it working? We called Donald Trump Hitler again this week. Why is it not working? Well, it's not working because people see through it, and most importantly, the MAGA voter base is loyal, and they get it. That's why Trump's electoral floor remains as steadfast and strong as it is. People aren't going anywhere because they've been enlightened. They've seen it. They've seen how the cake is made. Like I always say, once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's the way that it works. And that right there is Donald Trump's political superpower. And I'm just glad that it's being highlighted in front of such an incredibly large audience by such an honest man as Joe Rogan. If you're part of the shadowy cabal, as self-described by the left, well then you're probably seething at this point. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
Watch how fast they bounce when they find out all the money's out of the picture.